All right, in this PowerPoint, we're going to be looking at a concept called prototyping. And we were just talking about wireframes and annotations and kind of planning visual aspects and doing mock-ups and all those types of tools. But prototyping is a slightly different process. Prototyping really kind of encompasses creating something that people can actually work with. And if you saw that video from the Balsamic website where they had wireframes that they created, but one of the cool things about that tool is you can actually simulate the behavior of actually coding the website. So like if you click on a button, it actually takes you to the page that you're supposed to go to, so you can kind of see the result of it. So prototyping really is one of those tools. So taking, for example, a simple concept like this, and you've probably seen this on websites where there's a screen and there's tabs on the side, and you click on the tab and you can see the other screen that's part of it. And a real primitive way to do a prototype is actually do it with pencil and paper like that, right? That's kind of, probably not the way you guys want to work, but you can do it that way, right? Before we did PowerPoints, we had people with overheads. You guys ever have those in school? Probably, young people, probably not. But before PowerPoint really kicked into like prominence, and that was, basically in the 90s when it started actually being used as a presentation tool, I had the pleasure of attending a couple of presentations where people did all these like super fancy things with overheads. Like they had like this whole thing like choreographed, where they would like layer their overheads, and they would even do little animations with them in certain ways and then switch really fast. And it was like, a total dog and pony show that was totally planned out. But, really the same kind of stuff we do with PowerPoints these days, but doing it in the physical medium, which I just found very amusing. And before we had whiteboards, we'd get people that would have like the erasable markers and they would write on the overheads, So, and I'm not sure why I'm sticking with that example, but all right. They're also showing us, kind of like these hybrid tools, and we already talked about Adobe Muse, which is really a much better prototyping tool than Dreamweaver is. But back in the day when most of the coding tools were straight text editors and people really didn't have IDEs that were focused on creating web pages, for example, Dreamweaver was a good proof of concept tool because you could very easily put a form together that kind of looked like what you wanted to do so people could see what it was. And it has the ability to create code and then see the output immediately. But in terms of really a prototyping tool, I would push you towards Adobe Muse as a much, much better tool for that type of thing, because the focus is really much more on the visual. All right, so here you're going to see, and I know you guys can see the next slide on the side there, but here we're going from wireframe, very rough, pencil and paper, to actuality. And it did a pretty good job of coming close to it. Doesn't mean that what you build has to be exact, but if you have a vision, once again, you have that blueprint, it's a whole lot easier to build a house and not have to rebuild a wall or move the plumbing if you've already got that planned out. Right, see all these bullets? Read them. I don't really feel I need to lecture on any of those. Additional software that you might want to check out, and I haven't tested these links in a while, so I don't know if like the trial and the free projects still apply. That you'll have to check out. But these are prototyping tools. Remember, the slight difference between a prototyping tool and a wireframing tool is that the prototyping tool actually will simulate the behavior of the site. So it will take you from wireframe to proof of concept without necessarily building the site. Now, in terms of what I would consider the optimal tool for doing this, Adobe Muse is definitely the one that I would choose. Now, that aside, I know that Adobe has come out with a brand new tool. I have not even downloaded it yet, and I should probably go check. And it's a tool that's added to their Creative Cloud suite that focuses on user experience design. So they've recognized that this is a tool that's important for development. I actually remembered my password. How impressive is that? And I'm looking here. I'm not sure where it's located, so I'm kind of going on a hunt. So, all right, so these are all the products that you get. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Here's a brand new tool. And notice it's in beta. That's one of the advantages of signing up for this Creative Cloud stuff, is you get to use stuff before it's released. Then as soon as it's released, you automatically have it. You don't have to buy a new version. As they update it, you get the updates right away. So, I mean, if you're looking to do that. But let's actually go ahead and watch this.
Things we design today are more than just static visuals. Today, designers are more and more challenged with how things actually behave, how they interact, how they move around, how they feel.
As a designer, you're like at the forefront of the battle of technology.
So when we started working on XD, we had this idea of designing at the speed of thought. It really is about removing the barrier between you and other people and letting your ideas and visions flow.
So you can't design at the speed of thought if you're always aggregating notes and creating feedback checklists and then going back and then designing again. It takes time away from what designers really want to do, which is create.
So XD is crafted as a modern design tool. And the first thing you notice is how really fast it is. There are a lot of really thoughtful touches in XD that let you shortcut your way through tedious tasks that designers are doing every day, like duplicating objects or managing symbols or smart objects. So it's not enough just to rebuild or even reinvent design tools that people are working with today if we don't take advantage of the cloud.
With the power of the Creative Cloud, we're able to actually provide online, real-time collaboration that hasn't existed before. With co-editing, when you create an object, we'll see that object. When you drag a line, you'll see that line. When you start typing text, that text will change in real time.
The core principles for XD are relieving the burden of managing your work. We've really tried to pare away all of the unnecessary stuff that designers would rather not be doing.
If you look at the whole workflow of design, prototype, and share, it really is a one thing. It is not three separate workflows.
In the same way that Google Docs and Office 365 has transformed the way that team workers collaborate within the office space, Adobe XD will transform the way that designers create.
We really believe that design can change the world. It really has. But at the same time, we know that the way we work needs to evolve too. We really believe XD changes the way you design.
So when you're able to be creative, the sky's the limit.
All right, well, you get the point. So, and this is a brand new product. So they're like kind of filling a niche where they're taking kind of like this wireframing prototyping tool, really kind of notching it up to a much higher level, and giving us like that ability basically to work on things collectively at the same time. But you notice that some of the stuff that they were doing there, they were communicating, they were talking through, they were figuring out the problems that need to be solved before you get to the coding. Think back to Intro to Programming, folks. Pseudocoding. Remember that part? Yeah. Can't say enough about it. Programmers don't do it. I know you guys are working on that Java 2 project right now, which is really a Java 1 project. And if you went through the painstaking approach of actually watching the videos that I provided for you guys,
Yes.
and that like the first video or two really didn't involve any coding, a whole lot of thinking and planning and talking. And then once you have all the components identified, and you can start to build them one at a time and cross them off your list, and then you get to the point where you're getting the work done. And it makes the work a lot easier rather than diving into the code and going, oh my God, what did I just do? Now I have to undo or redo or change all the stuff I just did. And the whole point of it is so you don't do that. It's really the bottom line. All right, so some products you can check out there. More mock-up tools. Oh, I did have Muse on there. All right, and I think last couple slides here that totally you guys don't have to do. All right, so that wraps this little presentation. That was nice and quick.